Hey everyone, welcome to our syllabus and tentative schedule review. I welcome you from my home. I'm currently in our our family library, as well as our kids' activity room. So don't think that as much as I like A Nightmare Before Christmas, this is not a poster I would like to just randomly post in my house. So yeah, here's where I'm at. I'm enjoying my last little bit of summer here while I'm still working and preparing you for this course. Just to give you a quick objective and overview for why I'm doing this video. I'm hoping that I can just expound and cover a few important policies in relation to the syllabus and the tentative schedule. I may not cover it all. There will be a discussion module right after this so that you can post questions that you have about this video or things that I didn't clarify. But I just want to hit on a couple things that I think are important about the syllabus and about the tentative schedule, just so that you're aware of how I'm thinking about this. So let's just go ahead and just jump right in. I don't want to make this video too long. Let's just start here. What I really want to clarify here is, again, my office hours are 3 o'clock to 4:30 p.m. on Monday. Feel free to stop by then, or we can make an appointment if that time does not work. In terms of sending me an email, I have a 24-hour response rule. So typically, if I haven't responded to you in 24 hours, then it would be okay to kind of follow up and say, hey, Dr. Rose, did you get that email? But I will get to you within 24 hours. Please give me that 24 hours. Otherwise, my emails just get bogged down. I mean, anywhere between an hour or two of not checking my emails, I could have 45 emails I have to go through. So just understand that. But I'm really good at getting back at you or getting back to you in 24 hours. So that's that on the email. The other piece is that I don't work on Sundays just for religious reasons. So if I don't respond to you on a Sunday night, or on a Sunday in general, just know that's why. So I really try to do a good job before I go to bed on Saturday night to check my email so I can somewhere be close to that 24-hour policy, and then I'm up early on Monday to revisit things. So just to be aware of that and setting that expectation. And then finally, my cell phone number is the best number to contact me. If you want to contact me directly, don't call my office phone. I mean, A, may not be there, or B, I don't usually check my voicemails maybe as much as I should. But really, I'm on the go a lot. So my cell phone is the best way to reach me. Do not feel like you're bothering me. I would just say the boundaries for me are anytime after 6 a.m., anytime before 10 p.m. I mean, really, I'll shut my phone off at night anyway, so you wouldn't be bothering me. But during those boundaries, just call me during that time. Text me, give me a call if you have a concern about an assignment that you feel is pressing and that you feel like you need a more immediate answer than, that 24-hour email rule. So I hope that helps. Let's scroll down to the accountability hours. I hope I don't have to go through this too much. I just want to clarify what these hours are and the purpose behind them so that you're keeping track of them and why you're keeping track of them. So basically, we've got this 8-unit course. 4,300 and 4,400 are smashed together in a 16-week class. And because of that, we have 112 hours required by the university to fulfill for you to get credit for this course. We're also intermingling some commission requirements in that. So that's where it kind of starts to get a little fuzzy and gray, even for me. So I'm just going to try to make this as clear as I possibly can. So 4,300, we're going to hit these hours. We're going to be in class for about 3.5 hours. For our PD sessions over the next few weeks, we're going to be meeting from 4 to 7:30. I think once the semester actually starts, we're going to have to push that back from 4:30 to 8. Now, in regards to that, we need to start talking about food and making sure that because that's around people's dinner time, that you have, nutrition and strength and energy to be able to get through these classes. So we can maybe have conversations about whether we want to do that individually, if we want to do kind of, potlucks on a weekly basis. We can decide. I'm just more concerned that you have the nutrition you need to be able to learn. So we will talk about that. I will just give you as a heads up for next class session on the 12th. Just bring your own meal, and I'll give you some time, not necessarily like I'm giving you this lunch break or anything, but there'll be time where you can eat and we can learn and that you feel like you have enough energy to get through the night. In the 6 hours, the teacher expectation at school site, hopefully that's pretty self-explanatory. Most teachers, if you're student teaching in the Turlock Unified School District, which I believe most of you are, some of you are outside, should all be starting around August 12th, maybe before, maybe after. The goal here would be to try to get with your CT before school starts. And whether that's, meeting with them to plan, or it's, meeting them to go through their, teacher prep days before school starts to be in the classroom. It doesn't, any of those things count. 6 hours minimum, as many hours as you feel maximum. So There's that one. In terms of the clinical hours, this is where we start talking about the commission's guidelines. So I just want to clarify, students outside of student teaching period does not mean, oh, I went and saw my student play in a sport or or perform a play or did a choir event. Or, I went and chaperoned a dance and I was with students. Like that kind of stuff doesn't count with the commission. They want to see that you're engaging as an academic in terms of being a teacher and with students' academics. So tutoring, or you're planning with your CT, any of those things that work with that, or you're observing other classes and looking at how students respond to instruction, like those kinds of things are what the commission's looking for. So I'm going to put a link on Canvas to clarify that. But for now, I want to say play it safe and make sure those 10 hours fit that kind of category and not, oh, I went and watched a football game, because I'd hate for that to come back later and the commission's like, we don't accept that. Since these 10 hours aren't necessarily, like we're double dipping here. They're 10 hours for the course, which if they were just for the course, I'd say, hey, anything that benefits you to get to know students and build relationships, go for it. But in terms of the commission, they have a different definition. And since we seem to be double dipping with these 10 hours, I'd rather err on the side of follow the commission's guidelines than what we have flexibility to do. So hope that clarifies that. And then your professional development days, these 12 hours, they're set. Today, the 12th, or depending on when you're watching this, the 5th, the 12th, and the 19th. Okay, so then we moved to 4,400, same thing, got 28 hours of class time. The 3 hours of teacher expectations now become things that you can do outside of teaching. Could be like attending a back to school night, parent meetings, IEP meetings, any of those kind of professional duties that are outside of just giving instruction to students. But again, those shouldn't be like extracurricular things. I'm like pointing at the screen, like, I don't know if you can see me, but those shouldn't be those extracurricular things. Really focus on like instructional duties of a teacher that aren't just direct classroom instructional duties. So those kinds of meetings are what I think is important for you to experience. And be flexible there. Do things that you think will help prepare you to be the best teacher, because there are these soft things. I was just talking with a student teacher that I trained, a couple years ago. And she said the same thing, like there's just these things like, PDs during the summer, or, this meeting and that meeting, and just things that you don't always or aren't always aware or prepared of in our program. And we're really trying to make that intentional of making sure that you're aware of all duties of a teacher, not just the instructional ones. Again, I've explained the 10 hours of clinical, and then the 15 PD hours can be very much up to you. Something that you can do in the fall semester. And again, and I'll clarify this, I don't want to say this, but if you've done something in the summer, like you went to the Language Institute with Dr. McFarland, or you did any of those kinds of things, I'm kind of prone to say, hey, that was PD that we're going to count as something you've done in the fall. Just as long as you're getting some professional development. We're teachers, we're going to be ever growing, and that's the purpose. So I hope that the clinical hour, or not the clinical hours, the course hours make sense, and how they kind of broach the course, as well as a little bit of commission policy. And if you have questions on that, again, shoot me that in the discussion board. Okay, the attendance policy. We have gone back and forth as a program on what is, we need a policy and we need a guideline and we need to stick to it. And this is essentially what our policy is. And I hope that this message communicates a couple of things. So number one, we expect you to have the professional disposition of being a teacher. Teachers can't just say, I'm going to just take tomorrow off. Like you can, like you have personal days or you have sick days and you can do those things, but not without any type of responsibility of notifying your school, making sure there's subplans, and. I'm sure most jobs are like that, but especially in education, that's what we expect. So if you're not showing up to class, or kind of not arriving to class or not notifying us in a timely manner, it makes things difficult. It makes things difficult for me as the instructor to make sure that I come up with appropriate accommodations and make up things that you can do so you learn the content that I value and think is important, and that, again, the course is trying to teach you. If you're leaving your PLC high and dry, if it's a PLC activity, like there's just things that when you're not there, it becomes a detriment to the learning process. It becomes a detriment in general. So I hope that is what is being communicated in this policy, is just be professional. And again, if you want an uber extreme example, I think about a teacher that worked in my uncle's school a couple of years ago, probably still works there, but was honored a couple of years ago for being Teacher of the Year in the Las Vegas School District, or in the Clark County School District, because she was at and I'm going to forget the name. It's basically the mass shooting that we had at the Country Festival in Las Vegas. She was there. She was at that concert the night that the mass shooting happened. And the one thing that she could think of while, basically bullets are flying is to call my uncle, let him know that, hey, here's this issue. I don't know exactly what the outcome of this issue is going to be. Can we make sure that I get a sub for tomorrow and that things get covered? I mean, that's like uber extreme professionalism. Because most people are probably in that situation going to be more concerned for their life than their kids, but that just exemplifies the professional nature of a teacher. They care about their students, they have a responsibility and accountability to their students, and they show up for their students. And we just expect you to show up for your students and show up for this class. Not that it's been an issue, but if it becomes an issue, it will be one that we address. So I hope that policy makes sense. Just be in contact with me. The one thing I will laugh about is this. Unfortunately, work schedules, car troubles, vacations, family issues, including babysitting issues, or elderly care issues are not appropriate excuses. And here I am, Mr. Hypocrite, on a family vacation for a wedding. So I hope what I'm communicating is if things arise, let me know. I do have students in this class that do have things coming down the pipe this semester and have already let me know. That's great. If you're aware of those things, let me know. If you're sick and you just happen to get sick, I got sick over the summer. And I didn't need to go to the doctor. It was just a food poisoning situation, and I just got sick and was down for a couple of days. I'm not expecting you to go to these great lengths. I'm going to go off the honor code. But again, if you're sick, just let me know that you're going to be sick so that we can make plans and that I can make plans to make sure you miss that assignment. And if you're excused and if you're not in that class, that doesn't mean you don't make up work. And understanding the nature of sometimes that work will be hard to make up if you miss. So again, we're going to do the best we can to work with you as long as you're willing to be professional and work with us. So that's that. I won't beat over the drum anymore. Needing to go back to I've got Canvas up and I've still building the course here. Sorry. Going back to my my agenda here that I wanted you to do. So we went over attendance policy. Now let's go over tentative schedule. Okay, so tentative schedule really quickly. Things I want you to know. These are the class topics, clearly. These things we're going to be going over in class. The readings, when I say here's the reading, it is the reading that you should have done before you come to this class. So before August 12th, you should have read Thrive Not Survive Chapter 3 and your summer reading of classroom management before you come. So I hope that makes sense. And then here are the assignment due dates on the side. I'm still working with the assignment due dates, and I don't mean that to say that I'm not prepared. I'm still questioning in my mind, do we want to do some of this in class and have it due at the end of class, or do I want to make it due later in the week? And I will have that much clearer for you when we meet face-to-face on August 12th. But essentially, these are the things that are due. There are some of these assignments, the nature is it needs to be due before you come to class. Some of them are, hey, they can be due later. That's why I'm struggling and still working with what's the best way to approach this. So I will definitely make that more clear as we get closer to Monday the 12th. So for example, like the behavior support plan, we potentially could knock that out in class. But if we don't, I'm okay if we have to push it a couple days so you can work on things. Now, the last thing I want to hit on, or the last two things I want to hit on with the tentative schedule is the blue link for this book, Understanding by Design, Guide to Creating High Quality Units. What's really great is this is a book that's going to talk about unit planning. The nice thing is, to save you some money, is that it's at the library for free. So I will show you, if you highlight that and you go to the university library, put that in the search box here, it will literally pull up this where it says online access. You click to online access and it will take you to this book that you now can read the chapter online. All right, sorry for the break. I had someone calling my wife and needing to talk to me, anyways, sorry for the interruption there. I'm just going to keep going. So again, this book is online. You will not have to read every chapter. I'm actually going to do a jigsaw activity. So you'll end up reading in interdisciplinary teams like one chapter, and then you'll get an overview of the entire book from everybody in kind of a jigsaw discussion activity. But I just thought this was a great resource. The people that wrote this book are experts in unit design, and we get the book for free. So I hope that helps. There's this one, and I'm going to go back to the syllabus, the Understanding by Design, the Guide to Creating High Quality Units, and then later in the semester, we're going to also use their second book, same thing, so you probably only read one chapter, the Guide to Advanced Concepts in Unit Design. All of this is preparing you for TPA Cycle 2. You literally should be developing a unit in this class, which is, again, one of our assignments that will then segue you into using that same unit to do TPA Cycle 2. So I'm hoping that there's that cohesion there. And if not, I mean, it'll prepare you nonetheless for cycle 2, and it'll make cycle 2 very easy when you have this instruction. So that's that piece. And then the only other thing I want to talk about with the tentative schedule is the midterm review and the final. So the midterm, we will not have class, and the final, we will not have class. In lieu of that, we will have individual meetings that we'll schedule in my office throughout the week. And we'll go over some of these things. The final in the other cohort, I don't think is going to be the way I would like to do it. So I just wanted to give you a heads up. I think I just value that idea of having some one-on-one mentoring time and doing the final exam similar to the midterm exam. I will say on that date, Monday, December 16th, we usually have a celebratory day. So I know the other cohort, Dr. Dean's or the Dean's cohort will do something slightly different. And they'll end class on that day, but we will be a part of the celebratory piece. So I think we're going to go to the Dust Bowl on that day and just kind of celebrate and have a good time. But we will not have class on that day, where they still might have class. But in lieu of that, we will have those individual conferences throughout the week. And so it's still within the parameters of the academic calendar. It's not like I'm adding extra days by you doing that. It's just going to be treated as our final exam, and it'll be a good way to close out the semester and just make sure you're on a good path and ready to go, and that we verify that you are ready to transition. So just so you're aware, that's really what the final evaluation and the midterm are. So if you have questions about anything on the tentative schedule and or the syllabus, just post it under the questions. The final thing I just want to mention is I've been having, again, rich discussions with Dr. McFarland and Dr. Dean about this idea of it being a cohort class. And so, as you saw on my agenda here for course philosophy and topics, I really want you to understand that my assumption, well, let's put it this way, as someone who's coming into this cohort, you've already had professors before, having this idea that it's a cohort class, my first question is, well, what is it that we're teaching in this class? And it becomes this kind of smorgasbord of just randomness. And I just don't like that. And I don't think you do either. I've gotten enough data from you to suggest, and from other cohort classes, that they feel like this class is just a hoop to jump through. And I don't want that to be the case. So that's why that initial email was just stop talking about this class as that it's a cohort class. You are a group, you are a cohort, but you are taking an advanced methods class. I am assuming that in the first session, or the first methods class, that you got general methodology in terms of lesson planning, working with diverse students, a little bit of classroom management, and some other types of general methods. I'm aware that you may feel like you have some perceived gaps. I know there were some issues last semester. That's why we have these PD days. Specifically, that's why we have this third PD day, where we really can dive into what are some things that you feel like you didn't get in first semester, when you compare yourself to your counterparts in the deans, that we can fill in, or that you feel like, just for yourself, that you feel like you would like to learn to be more prepared. So this, again, that third PD day is really open. We're going to do a little Socratic discussion, but that's not going to take 3.5 hours. So just keeping me apprised, and I'm going to recommend now in Canvas and through email that you tell me, here are some things that I'm interested in, so that we can have a really great final PD day. And then we're going to jump right into a advanced methods course that focuses on unit planning, UDL, data literacy, and all of the things that will prepare you not only for TPA Cycle 2, but for your career, according to the standards that the state is asking me to teach you, as well as my own philosophical opinion of what I feel you need to be prepared for your first year. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Again, if you have any questions, just send them to me on Canvas and I'll try to respond. But again, I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a great semester, and we are really going to prepare you well for your career. So I'm looking forward to working with all of you, and I will see you soon.